Hey guys, I know I'm in a new spot today. I'm in our living room. I'm not in like the bedroom or whatever where I usually have my white headboard background. But the lighting is really good in here today and it's nice and quiet and I'm trying to keep myself awake. I'm super tired, hence the crazy under eye circle bag things. I don't even know what you want to call them. But today I wanted to do a review on the Revlon Colorstay whipped cream makeup. It is a 24-hour makeup. It comes in this jar like this. I want to basically put it on my face first for you guys to see, and then I want to tell you guys like what I think about it, and then I'm going to come back later. You guys are going to see what it looks like at the end of the day, and I will round everything all up. Let's get to it. So when I'm applying this makeup, I'm not in fact using a a primer today. I didn't think I ever had an issue with the primer that I was using, but lately my primer, I've been using the Maybelline Baby Skin. You guys know that I use that with practically everything, but it's kind of been a little bit of a hit or miss for me. My skin has been a little bit off, and I'm not quite sure if it's due to this foundation or if it's because of the way that I've been eating. I've been eating a heck of a lot lately, and I've been eating very like fatty foods, so it could be that why my skin is reacting, but I'm not 100% sure, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I'm not going to use a primer today. Ignore that. I'm not going to use a primer today. I'm just going to use a regular dampened beauty blender and then this. Babe, are you okay?
Yeah.
You sure?
Did I mess up your thing?
No, I'm going to actually totally keep that in there.
No, you're not.
I 100% am. So I use like a decent amount on the beauty blender, and by the way, this color is like really off because I got this when I was a little bit tanner, and right now I'm a little bit more on the pale side. So the color does not match perfectly, but it was at one point a really good match. I actually really like this because I felt that the color, I have a really hard time finding color matches because my skin isn't as like pink as a lot of people who are fairer are. Like I'm not the tannest person in the world, but my skin is just not pink. It's a lot more yellow. So I have a really difficult time finding that yellow undertone when I'm so pale. Like it usually doesn't work, but this one comes out pretty good. But I will say that I did try to layer it last week just to see if it would layer properly, and it turned out to be a little bit too muddy for me. So I didn't like it as much when I did the second layer because it just kind of looked gray. And maybe that's because it did have the yellow undertone. It doesn't have a pink undertone, but yeah, that's that. So I use a decent amount when I'm putting it on my face, and I know that everyone always says that to me, and they're like, you wear so much, and I do, but that's what I like, and I like my makeup to stay on all day. I don't like to look like my face eats it because a lot of the times my face just eats makeup, and it's going to eat it even more without me wearing a primer, so that's why I'm going a little overzealous right now. Okay, so this is the after right when I'm done with my foundation. I haven't put on anything else just yet, but like I always do in my review videos, I am going to put on my concealer and my powder and whatever other makeup I'm going to do for the rest of the day, because for the most part, I'm never going to go out with just foundation on and that's it. If I'm going to do something like that, I'll do it with the BB cream. I'm not going to use an actual foundation. So I would like to wear it as though I'm going to be wearing it normally. And yeah, as of right now, without even anything else, it definitely obviously smoothed my skin texture over. It does have a little bit of a slightly dewy finish, and it can look to be a little bit piecey at first, but like, not that it's like separating your face, but it can accentuate things just slightly because the dewiness of it isn't, you have to understand this isn't an HD foundation, so it's not going to like kind of, it doesn't have those like reflectors in it that just make everything look super super smooth, even though the color in general, my skin does look much smoother. Sorry if you hear the cats, they're like tearing at the chairs in the dining room. It doesn't, you know, it's not an HD makeup, so it's just you always have to be careful when you're using a dewy foundation if it's not an HD makeup, just because it just can bring out a few of your imperfections, but not everything. So I'm gonna go do the rest of my makeup and I will be right back and show you what my makeup looks like finished. Okay guys, so my makeup is done. I used Boo Boo concealer for my highlighting, and then I used like all Paint Cosmetics powders the way that I usually do. And basically, obviously this is what it looks like. Let me zoom up on my face. I feel like my makeup is kind of messed up right now a little bit because I mushed my lips together and it made my lips look weird. But this is it. This is not an attractive angle. I really don't like zooming up on my face. I don't think anybody does. But it does look pretty decent when there's powder over it. It reminds me so much of the Laura Mercier cream foundation, if you guys know what that is. I used to like love that foundation. The difference between that and this is just that this one, I feel like you get a lot, or you have to use a lot more. Obviously it's much cheaper, so there's that. But the packaging is so similar. The consistency in a sense is similar. The other one is obviously more dewy. But the packaging is a little bit large for me. I don't mind it because I think it's cute, but also it's using like half of the jar. Like it doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the jar. I think that if it was completely filled, I would enjoy it a lot more. But I do in general like this foundation. It does feel a little bit sticky if you don't put powder over it, so that's why I always recommend you put powder over everything anyway. Just it'll give it a finished look. But if you have oilier skin, it can separate slightly. But if you have drier skin like me, you still want to make sure that you're putting powder on it because it's going to just make it look a little bit more finished and smooth it over, since like I said earlier, it is not an HD foundation. This retails for about $10. If you get it at Ulta, it's about $15, so you should probably go to like Target or something like that and you'll get it a little bit cheaper, about $5 cheaper. I'm using the color 330 True Beige for those who want to know. So basically by the end of the day, I'm going to come back here and I'm gonna give you guys like a finished look to show you what it looks like. It's extremely hot out today. It's like, I feel like I'm always doing these videos when it's really hot out, which is kind of a good test. But it's like really hot and super humid. I think we're supposed to get storms, so hopefully that'll break some of the humidity. But it'll be a good test to see how this makeup holds up. And then I'm gonna come back, show you guys, tell you guys what I think, give you a final look, and then wrap it all up. So I'll see you guys in a few. Hey guys, so it's the end of the day. Well, the sun's kind of about to go down, so I figured that I would do it like right before the sun actually set. I've been kind of like running around all day and I've been outside quite a bit, and it's like I said earlier on, it was like ridiculously hot today. Sorry if you hear the cats running around. They only do this when I'm like filming. And what was I saying? I'm getting distracted. It was like really hot today. So I'm actually pretty impressed. I mean, I've been using this makeup for a while, and sometimes it's a hit or miss for me. Not like a total miss, but sometimes I think it's my application process that I wasn't doing properly. I find that when I use a beauty blender instead of a stippling brush, it stays on a lot better. It's not too heavy, it doesn't get shiny throughout the day, and it doesn't stay tacky, because this is a foundation that can easily get super tacky if you don't apply it light enough, or if you don't put powder over it. I definitely recommend putting powder over it, even if you have dry skin. Like I said, if you're a little bit more oily, then you may want to pass on this, just because it tends to separate a little bit when I have primer underneath. But I will say, if you look closely, I hate these close-ups. If you look closely, ignore the eyebrows by the way, the makeup has not separated on my face, and it really hasn't faded at all, which is a pretty big deal. Yeah, it just hasn't separated on my face, which is great. And that's pretty crazy for not having a primer, and my face didn't eat it, and usually it does. So you definitely want to make sure you give yourself a really good face wash at night, because otherwise, even though it does last 24 hours and you literally can wake up the next morning looking halfway decent, for me, my skin has reacted a bit to it. Now, like I said, I didn't know if it was because of this or because of the way that my diet's been lately, which is something that I know I need to work on. But other than that, I really do recommend this makeup, and I think that it is a decent price. Obviously, it's drugstore foundation. Like I said, I like the packaging. It is still a little bit heavy, and I kind of wish they give you a little bit more, but I do appreciate the fact that it's in a jar, since it doesn't have a pump. I don't really like when things are in a bottle with no pump. So if it's gonna not have a pump, I prefer it to be in a jar. But yeah, definitely apply it with a beauty blender, and that's about that. I'm gonna give this foundation about an 8.5, so that's pretty high for me because it is. So yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below if you guys have tried this, or if there are any other foundations or, I don't know, powders, whatever, that you want me to review. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and I will see you guys next time.